What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because the first scores, the first reviews are beginning to come out, and they are just wildly positive. We're talking people claiming this may be the best Final Fantasy of all time, people saying that it has some of the coolest combat, nicest innovation, biggest advances over its predecessor. But I wanted to talk about this because, honestly, I am so excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. My favorite game of all time is the original FF7, and the first part of this remake trilogy was just so groundbreaking. But let's take a look specifically at what a lot of these reviewers are happy and not so happy about. So, first and foremost, we're over here on OpenCritic. This is like an aggregate score site, sort of like Metacritic, but focusing more predominantly on video games. And as you can see, it is getting completely glazed with praise. It has got a top critic average of 92, so that means that the consensus is just shockingly, jaw-droppingly positive. 100% of critics recommend it. But let's actually take a look at a score breakdown. A lot of 10 out of 10s, a lot of 9.5s out of 10s. I want to take a look at some blurbs and some of the specific things that people are talking about, because I think I'm still impressed that this game is actually going to work. The original Final Fantasy VII is obviously, it's a masterpiece. It's got so many different characters and themes and magic that manage to walk this very fine line, and somehow they've blown that up. They've given us more Sephiroth, more Cloud, about 80 times more Zack. And I saw this tweet. This one was interesting to me. I rolled credits after 75 hours in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I can say that the game is a revelation that feels like it was born out of my dreams from the past 2.5 decades. A monumental triumph that I'll be talking about for a long time. Oh, wow. That's incredibly freaking cool. I guess this is kind of what I'm so happy about, and the reason I want to look at a lot of these blurbs is because the freaking mantle of Final Fantasy VII, the fact that they managed to take a game that is so flawless and stretch it out, blow it up, expand it, and make it so much better somehow, still seems utterly impossible. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is an utterly massive RPG, pushed to its limit. While some side content skirts the edges, Aerith, Tifa, and the gang make this a hugely enjoyable road trip that you'll be playing for hundreds of hours. Man, is that just... that sounds like the best damn thing ever, to be honest with you. Wow. I think this is the thing, though, I wanted to talk about, is that I did notice the only thing that people are complaining about is two specific things. I keep seeing people say, hey, the game is big, the game is well written, the advancements they've done to the combat system to make it a lot deeper, all of those work. I did see this. The open world is heavy on busy work. The core narrative spins its wheels until the end. Navigation is a pain in spots. I have seen people say that the actual world itself has crafting materials now. Side quests constantly litter the landscape that are usually not super deep or important. Whereas in Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first part of this trilogy, I think they did a good job of every NPC, every quest you do. It not just feels relevant, it feels rewarding. So the fact that the second game kind of misses the mark in that regard, that's a little bit of a downside. But let me actually look at IGN's blurb. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth impressively builds off of what makes Remake set in motion as both a best-in-class action RPG full of exciting challenge and depth, and as an awe-inspiring recreation of a world that has meant so much to so many for so long. Okay, so this is like a weird blurb because they're basically just saying, hey, if you're going into this to try and see it as another remake, well, it definitely nails that remake vibe while also modernizing it. Now, here's the main one I wanted to actually take a look at it. This guy here, PlayStation Game Size, gets a lot of review codes, and I like it because he tweets it out in these like little tiny bullet points that are absolutely spoiler free, and I think it's really interesting. It's almost like these are kind of, when I do my own reviews, this is how I write my script notes. So it's interesting to me that he basically just writes script notes and goes, there you go, it's the bullet points and nothing else. Okay. A few weeks ago, I experienced the Final Fantasy VII Remake game for the first time since release, and I enjoyed it, especially intermission. However, the existence of problems led to my final score being an 8.5 out of 10. Fortunately, I played the Rebirth demo and managed to start the full version of the game after a while. The story itself takes 30 to 40 hours to complete. Side stories plus missions, this basically is 60 to 70 hours. Getting the Platinum Trophy will take you about 110 hours plus. My review after 40 hours of experience. I don't think we need to say this, but the game has a great story. It's an amazing Final Fantasy world and even beyond. In Rebirth, all the characters are valued. All of them have a vital role in the game. Okay, that's pretty much what I expected. The combat system of the game has improved tremendously thanks to changes such as the synergy abilities and new skills. Yeah, this is one of the things that we actually saw in the demo. I did do a video talking about the demo, and I am working on a full review of the game, but synergy abilities allows two characters to team up for a bigger strike, and it seems like it can be just any two characters as long as they've built up enough energy to do a special attack. They can do these combined special attacks, some of which are required for certain bosses, which is definitely interesting. Exciting boss fights that are well designed. As with previous Final Fantasy games, the soundtrack for this game is excellent. Not a huge surprise. Skill tree is unique, huge, and functional. I'm going to guess this gentleman's first language is not English. Just that's typically used in a derogatory sense of that it is functional. But okay, the variety of regions prevents the repetition of the big game world. Most of the mini-games are so well developed and different from each other that it makes Final Fantasy VII Rebirth a collection of shooting games, soccer games, etc. Interesting. With the amazing variety of enemies, it's unlikely that you'll encounter a duplicate enemy during the game. Open world activities are at a decent level. Side quest games are not perfect, but they have undergone some positive changes to the previous version. He just put Kate Sith. Just like, hey, what do you like about the game? Kate Sith. That's funny. Navigating in a massive game open world is an enjoyable experience thanks to its excellent traversal, especially the different abilities from the chocobos. In case you haven't played the original game, in FF7, different colored chocobos have different abilities. So a blue chocobo can run on water, black chocobo can climb mountains. So it's cool that that fully exists in this one. Very fast loading times, good use of 3D sound. During 40 hours, I did not encounter any bugs, frame drops, or game crashes. Sadly, graphic problems do not allow us to fully enjoy the game. Something I have seen a couple reviewers mention in some of the blurbs I dove into is that apparently the visuals get blurry. There is some sort of system where if you played on performance mode, which is the hard-locked 60 FPS, it can look a bit murky at times, which to me is very unfortunate. To me, I want a game to look as good as possible, but especially if it's a world that's supposed to be so big and so beautiful. So the fact that they're not able to really get a stable frame rate and stable visuals, obviously kind of a letdown. But what do you guys think about Final Fantasy VII? Are you excited for Rebirth? Does this seem too good to be true? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep dreaming. I literally got up 5 minutes ago. I cannot believe I'm even able to film a video with, I gotta drink a Red Bull. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.